Hey guys, today we're talking about how sleep can affect your energy and your body's ability to repair. Now, I see people all the time who are really keen to do everything they can to improve their overall health or their injuries, but one thing they don't want to do is to go to bed earlier. So I thought I'd just jump on here and show you guys how sleep can really benefit you in terms of your health or your ability to recover. The first thing is with regards to health. Now, if you're not sleeping well, that can really play havoc on your body's hormones or your body's ability to lose weight or get out of pain. That means you're more likely to turn to something sugary or something fatty. So it's going to affect your blood sugar levels. As your blood sugar levels stay continuously high, it also means you're going to become something called leptin resistant. Now, leptin is a hormone that's produced by your body fat cells that signal to your brain that you're full. So as you're eating and as you're taking food in, your body will detect how much food it has and whether it has enough. Once it's had enough, it's going to produce leptin, which is going to go to your brain, and it's going to tell your brain that you've had enough food, so stop eating. But if your leptin levels stay continuously high, your body's going to start to ignore that. It's a bit similar to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. So as you become more leptin resistant, it means you're not going to have those signals telling you that you're full, which means that you're going to continue eating. So you're more likely to gain weight. It also means that your inflammation levels are more likely to go up and your body's ability to clear that inflammation is a lot harder. So it means that you're more likely to stay in pain for a lot longer. It's also been shown that a lack of sleep puts you at more risk of chronic health diseases such as type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, high cholesterol. So you're setting yourself up for more problems down the line. Now, there's two hormones that you need to be aware of when it comes to sleep: cortisol and melatonin. Cortisol is known as your body's stress hormone, and your sleep hormone known as melatonin. So throughout the day, what we should be seeing is in the morning, our body's producing cortisol. Our cortisol levels go up, and the purpose of that is to help us to wake up. But throughout the day, those cortisol levels should start to drop towards the evenings. And as those cortisol levels drop, our melatonin levels should start to rise. And that's what makes us start to feel sleepy. But the way that we live, and in the evenings we're still watching TV, we've got the big lights on, we're looking at our phones and our laptops, and our bodies are being tricked into thinking that it's still daytime. And if it still thinks it's daytime, it's going to continually try to produce more cortisol. So instead of your cortisol levels dropping, your cortisol levels are going to stay relatively high, but that's going to suppress your body's production of melatonin. So you're not going to have that sense of feeling sleepy. Now, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., and I've talked about this before, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when your body should be better at physically repairing. Because the melatonin levels are high and your cortisol levels are low, your body is supposed to be good at repairing itself physically. But if we're going to bed late, if we're going to bed at 12, we're watching TV, we've got our laptops or our phones, and we're missing 2 hours of physical repair. When you wake up in the morning, you're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel like you've been hit by a bus. You're going to feel like it's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to wake up. Your face might be puffy. All of these different things just because you're not getting that physical repair. And then between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. is when your body is better at repairing itself emotionally, mentally, cognitively. Now, some people feel like they might not be able to get to sleep. They class themselves as insomniacs, or some people genuinely are insomniacs, but there's various different possible causes for that. If you're waking up in the middle of the night, say around 2-3 o'clock in the morning, it might be that it's to do with what you've been eating. Certain foods or certain drinks can have a stimulatory effects. Things like caffeine or spices or sugar can all affect your body throughout the night. So your body will start to wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just because that's when things start to kick in. It could be just a few hours after you've eaten, for example. It could be to do with your blood sugar. Now, the body is very clever and it wants to maintain level blood sugar levels. But if your blood sugar levels are dropping too low, your body wants to wake you up. It wants to stop you going into a coma. So let's say you've eaten something quite sugary or quite rich in carbohydrates and your body digests that relatively quickly, your blood sugar levels rapidly rise. But your body doesn't want high sugar levels either. So what it does is it produces insulin to lower that sugar. And this will be throughout the night while you're asleep. But that insulin production drives your blood sugar levels down too low. If it goes into too low blood sugar, your body could potentially go into a coma. So what the body does is it produces more cortisol to raise your blood sugar levels. But with that cortisol comes you waking up. It could be that you're not able to produce melatonin, or you're suppressing the production of your melatonin. We've already touched on this, but if you've got lights on in the evenings, or you're looking at your computer screens or your phone screens, you're suppressing your body's ability to produce melatonin. So it's not making you feel sleepy. But the other thing is that maybe your body isn't producing it. Now, melatonin comes from something called serotonin. And serotonin comes from tryptophan. And tryptophan is an amino acid that you get in your diet. So if you're lacking in protein, and that's essentially where this tryptophan comes from, if you're lacking in protein, then you can't maybe produce serotonin, which then means you can't produce melatonin. So simply by adding in more protein into your diet might help with that. It could be that your cortisol levels are too high. Now, I've mentioned about the lights already, but cortisol is your stress hormone. It could be something called the hyperarousal hypothesis. And this is where you have an emotional arousal in the evening. It could be stress. It could be a fear of going to sleep. And what I mean by that is it could be a fear that you know you're not going to be able to get to sleep. So you start to worry or start to panic about going to sleep because you know that you're going to be stuck in this awake cycle all night. So that emotional arousal causes stimulation of your nervous system. And with your nervous system comes an increase in certain hormones, again, like the cortisol. And that leads to this vicious cycle of emotional anxiety and physiological sort of stress as well. So what can you do about this? Well, the first thing is throughout the day, monitor what you're eating. If you are having stimulants such as coffee, maybe cut down on the coffee in the afternoon. So avoid stimulants throughout the day. Then in the evening, start to unwind. So turn off those big main lights, stop watching TV and turn on small side lamps and put them lower down so your body thinks that the light source is coming down, which means it thinks that maybe the sun is setting, which technically is what happens. And then at night time, make sure your room is completely blacked out, because any light that comes into your room stimulates your body into thinking that there is some sort of daylight outside. So it encourages your body to start producing a little bit more cortisol. You can also sleep in a slightly cooler room. As the ambient temperature of the room goes down, your body temperature will start to come down as well. And throughout the night when you're asleep, it's that lower body temperature that helps you to stay asleep. You could also look into supplementation. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out and buy stuff, and that's why I haven't put that much down. But generally speaking, you could try something called an adaptogenic herb. And what that means is that if you've got too high levels of something in your body, these adaptogenic herbs will bring those levels down. But if your body isn't able to produce enough of something, these adaptogenic herbs help to boost it. So it sort of keeps your body in check and maintains a good balance. And ashwagandha is one of those such adaptogenic herbs. And it helps to regulate your cortisol levels in your body. And the other thing you could do is try magnesium, particularly a magnesium glycinate. Now, magnesium does many, many different things in the body, but one of them is to help relax your muscles and helps to relax you. So you could be having Epsom salt baths, which are full of magnesium. And you could take magnesium glycinate supplements in the evening as well. So I hope that has given you a quick, brief overview of how important sleep is for your health. This week, I want you to start working on this. I want you to start going to bed a little bit earlier and see how that affects you. See if that affects your health. See if that affects your weight, if you're trying to lose weight, or see if that affects your pain. So I hope that helps. If you have any comments or you have any questions, stick them in the comment section or send me a message. If this is something that you struggle with, this might be something I can help you with. So do reach out to me and ask for help. And if there's anything else you want to see in any other videos, let me know. So in the meantime, guys, work on your sleep and I will see you in the next video.